Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic reading, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living of Columbia and Greater Baltimore. Today is October 2nd. And this morning I'm reading from Guiding Principles, The Spirit of Our Traditions, and this happens to be a book that is printed by the Narcotics Anonymous World Service Organization. And I invite you to entertain the idea that spiritual principle is spiritual principle is spiritual principle, and that it can apply anywhere and everywhere. And in fact does. So I opened it up to page 190, and my eyes landed on this paragraph. Check it out. One of the most insidious ways we get distracted is that servants become more important than the service. Our diversions, allowing ourselves to be distracted or drawn into controversy, often begin with a sense of self-importance. We may get diverted in this way when we don't feel heard or respected. Sometimes the most powerful way we carry our message is to listen to our higher power and to each other. A loving higher power works most powerfully through us when we can let go of the need to hear our own voice and strive to hear the conscience of the group instead. When anonymity guides our service efforts, we can let go of the need to be right, to be recognized, or to accumulate power. I personally live by service. And I love this because it really anchors in this concept of anonymity, which simply means the service is what's important. That it, we can get away from the service being about who is serving, and it, for me, it aligns with that Sanskrit word seva, which, as I understand it, means selfless service. To give of oneself in service. And it's interesting, in this human realm, that sentence would finish in service to others. And in the spiritual consideration and truth of oneness, spirit life is always serving itself. And so when we're in service to others, we're in service to ourselves as well. We're in service to the greater whole. I oftentimes grapple with helping my brain understand this concept of oneness in a world where everything looks separate, to consistently remind myself about oneness and service, and that if creation gives to itself without interruption continuously, then that's the model, right? If I am an expression of that, then that same practice is my practice. Rather than being here to achieve something separate, I keep coming back to how to be more God in form, how to live into the image and likeness of what I am created out of to express. And that, for me, always comes back to service, to giving, way more than getting. And if I can just be in that place of service, the getting takes care of itself, because we live in a universe that is governed by the law of reciprocity. I mean, we call them different laws. They're all the same thing, really. At least that's what I'm coming to understand. You may have a different experience, and that is perfect. I certainly do not have the answer. I don't even believe that there is the answer. I think there is a journey, and we're all on an individualized journey of the same thing. Shedding everything that is any sense of separation. Our journey back to the truth of who we are so that we can express that. As Ernest Holmes said when he wrote his statement, What I Believe, an emancipation from all discord. And all discord comes from a sense of separation, and service bridges that gap. And service can look like lots of things, right? Service can be sitting silently in prayer for one another, for total strangers, for our nation, not from a place of changing people, but from a place of reminding ourselves of the truth of being, all being, and affirming that that is coming into expression. Because as that happens, everything unlike that becomes transformed. And so, prayer in Science of Mind is an affirmative practice. It's known by spiritual mind treatment, it's known by affirmative prayer, and it's affirming the truth of being. And then the activity of creation, law, whatever you're calling it, we're moving consciousness, and law then takes over and unfolds it perfectly in infinite wisdom to manifest what was spoken into affirmative prayer. Which is one reason why at the end of each of these, I close it with an affirmative prayer. Not praying for something outside of me to do something to me or to somebody else, but to affirm the activity, the power, the presence of creation of consciousness itself, moving into form, to raise the vibration of that. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Because nothing else has come up that convinces me that it's different. And I continue to explore, and I invite you to do the same thing. So I'm going to read, bumped the microphone. I'm going to read this paragraph one more time and take us into our time of meditation and contemplation, and then I will close us out with an affirmative prayer. One of the most insidious ways we get distracted is that servants become more important than the service. Our diversions, allowing ourselves to be distracted or drawn into controversy, often begin with a sense of self-importance. We may get diverted in this way when we don't feel heard or respected. Sometimes the most powerful way we carry our message is to listen to our higher power and to each other. A loving higher power works most powerfully through us when we let go of the need to hear our own voice and strive to hear the conscience of a group instead. When anonymity guides our service efforts, we can let go of the need to be right, to be recognized, or to accumulate power. So let's take that into our meditation and contemplation. And so I bring my full attention to the breath of life breathing me, to the one power, the one presence, one mind, one God, one love, one life, one peace, whatever name we call it, consciousness itself, one reality, infinite intelligence, absolute abundance, known by so many names, God, Spirit, the great mystery. By whatever name we know it, it is a power. It is a higher power than the individualized me. It is that ground of being, that self-existent substance that simply creates out of itself. And so creation is consciousness itself expressing an exquisitely individualized, one of a kind, never to be repeated individualizations of itself, expanding its expression and experience of itself, infinite possibility, expressing in newness in every moment of now, and each expression eternal, unbounded by this physical realm, and yet very much present in this physical realm, temporarily anchored in the home of a body. I am that in form. And what is true of me is true of all life in this planetary realm and beyond. The seen and the unseen, the known and the unknown, the visible and the invisible, all one. And so in this wholeness, completeness, and perfection of one beingness, I claim and affirm that within the awareness of humanity, the truth of kinship, the truth of inseparability, the truth of wholeness, is moved into an awareness that manifests as an experience. That this idea of service is met with an openness that recognizes, that welcomes, that celebrates, that serving is serving the whole. That it is impossible to serve one without serving all. And so the focus, the attention, and the intention of service becomes the activity of an awareness of one body. Serving in a way that uplifts and heals the whole body. No longer willing to even entertain the idea of divisiveness. No longer active in a struggle for power. The idea of separation is neutralized. Transformed as the activity of awareness of one moves into an intentional awareness, a celebration, the activity of one, the anonymity of one, where the individualized identity is celebrated as exactly what it is, consciousness expressing in multiplicity. Every expression with equal power, because every expression is the power expressing. that every expression of life is equal in value, because there can be no variance of value in one. A wholeness, a completeness, a perfection that is operating and expressing as the harmonious operation of one. I see it, I feel it, I claim it, and I surrender my earthly self to the service of it. Celebrating that the activity of law immediately responds to the word spoken, the doer within this creative process. And in the absence of the human time and space paradigm, it's already done. In this moment of now, the only moment that there is where all of creation is happening now, it is already done. And so I celebrate now. Even before I see the outcome, I celebrate the completeness, the wholeness from that place of faith, that place that knows before it sees, that sees before it sees, so that all will see in this human realm. I celebrate. It is done. And so I can let go. I can let go of any human chatter that would argue based on evidence that it doesn't yet see. I can let go of the need to even see it in form to know that it's done. I can let go of every thought that would in any way diminish or negate the full expression of the word spoken. I let it all go. I let it go. And I remember over and over again, it is done. It is done. It is done. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.